if you want to, people were going outside, but I did not go to other countries. When we came to United States, I came with 11 years of experience and 2 girls, 6 and 8 years old. That definitely changed the perspective, how you raise your children and how you see yourself developing in the society. So I wanted to do my job here, and I continued to do the job that I was doing in Macedonia as a system engineer. You know, luckily we had opportunities at that point of time because the immigration law was better than now. At the current time, the H-1B visas were more accessible, and that helped a lot of Macedonian economic immigration at that point of time. We went back to Macedonia for 2 years because my mom had heart problems, so I picked up my 2 girls and I went back. I left my husband here, and he was contributing financially to the family, and I took care of my mom at that time. That was really important to me, and I think that's, I could not have done it without partnership, of course, with my husband, and that's one important thing that, you know, I've learned over time, that partners, whoever that is it your husband, is your family, it's really important. It takes a village to raise kids and to be successful in life, whatever success means to you. I'm now working at Ingleside. Ingleside is a system of retirement communities. We serve more than 1,350 residents, clients. We have a business of continuum of care, where we take care of people in independent living, assisted living, memory support, skilled nursing, at home. We also have a foundation that we raise money. How did I end up taking care of, you know, older adults, older persons? Well, I was working at Pew Research Center at that time, and I was sick and tired of commuting. So as Karina said, I would wake up at 5 a.m., I would catch a metro at 5:30, and I would be leaving the work at 3, like saying goodbye, I need to take care of my kids, similar like Emma is doing right now. And it was a lot of energy, a lot of time. So, you know, I kept saying to myself, I don't need to commute 1 hour. I'm losing 1 hour of quality time where I can spend it with my kids or myself or doing something else. So I applied to the job that was a startup, and the first interview was in a trailer. It was a shell of a building, and they were like, oh, this is going to be a home where old people live, and we'll take care of them, and we just need a little bit of technology. Well, it was, you know, a challenge, and it was a startup definitely, but it taught me so much. So it taught me that I should not be afraid to take some other challenges and unknown, although my boss in Pew and my family were like, you're crazy, you're going to work with old people, that nobody likes to be there. So what happened after that? Well, it proved that it's a right time to move in this business. Why? Because the Americans and, you know, the world, particularly West Europe, Japan, Macedonia included, people are getting older. People are not giving birth to kids because of different reasons. People are moving, immigrating. So these are some fascinating numbers that by 2050, the number of people over the age of 65 is expected to grow, double the size. So in America, for example, that's about 12 million people will need some kind of care. It really depends on what care means and how people envision themselves aging. But it's really important that we take a look at these numbers because they are significant numbers. Another statistics, 10,000 Americans will turn 80 every day starting next year, 2025. What these people are going to do? By 2030, which is not that far away, 73 million boomers will be a retirement age. I'm pretty sure you heard boomers, maybe in different terminology, but I'm a boomer. what is important for boomers? They know it all, they want it all, they'll spend it all, and they all want it for free, right? These are the 4 characteristics. So when you think of your parents or your grandparents, you know, think of that. And they may not leave you a lot of money. That's quite opposite from my parents. Like, my parents are typical parents of the so-called silent generation, where people were taking care of their family, they were saving a lot, their savings account were huge, they were buying apartments or houses to their kids, and that was their joy. They were taking care of grandchildren. Boomers, not so much. No, they come and visit. Yeah. They, you know, they want they want to spend some time, but you know, they don't envision themselves as caregivers. Well, unless it's a critical thing happening, right? And that's what I wanted to talk about. This whole wave is nicknamed Silver Tsunami, and this it's quite a joke, you know, but it is scary because we don't have systems in place for this change of the environment. We have been teaching kids how to take care of themselves, how to grow, how to educate themselves, but we have a bunch of older people that have different desires and needs. One important thing is socialization. Like, we've learned, particularly during COVID, what does it mean to be isolated? And if you can imagine older people, older persons, when they age, what is happening with them? Their friends are dying, their families are far away, they stay at home, they lose ability to watch things because their vision declines, their hearing is bad, they don't like to wear hearing aids, they are not stable, they have mobility issues, so they isolate more and more in their own apartments. What that means that they're getting lonelier and lonelier, and it means that they visually do not look good, they need health. And during COVID, there was a fascinating survey being done by CMS, which is Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, that isolation means like smoking a pack of cigarettes per day. That's how bad it's on your health. It's horrible, right? So what do we do about it? People need to socialize with people. You know, we coming from Macedonia, our environment is smaller, right? You have neighbors that you grew up, you have friends, you have family, and you have somebody always around you. Like, when you're younger, it's not that pleasant because everybody's telling you what to do. They're all in your face, right? But when you're getting older, culturally, we have been taking care of our elders. Like, there are other cultures like that, like Hispanic culture is very similar to that. Other cultures like Asian, but with the migrations and with the progression of the technology and kids moving away from their roots, those connections are being lost. And you know, are we going to change that? We cannot, but we need to adapt to these new trends. And how do we do that? One of the most important things for elder adults is to have a sense of purpose. Like, you know, when I talk to our residents, they are like, well, I don't have anything to wake up in the morning. Like, why I would even go out? But if they have a purpose of the day, you know, in the past, it would be my mom would take care of my kids, right? Or, you know, they would take care of her parents. They would go somewhere with the retirement age in certain countries that is very fixed. You know, in Macedonia, they retired 64, right? They don't have much opportunities to work later. That's quite opposite of what is happening here. Here, people can work longer, and now the trends are that we actually want to hire older people. We want to hire their wisdom and their seniority and expertise. One of the longest studies has been done by Harvard University. It's decades long. I think it's more than 25 years. They're following the older persons, and that's the quote that they've done last year. Good relationships were the strongest predictor of who was going to be happy and healthy as they grow old. Like, we were thinking that money, material things are important because people can pay for their health. You know, it's quite opposite to that. We have huge examples of people that don't have much wealth. I mean, wealth is important, but they don't have much wealth, but they have social world around them that is keeping them healthy and happy. Working and volunteering. There are countries in the world where volunteering is very much entangled in their genes. Like you name India, for example, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia even. Hello, come on in.
Okay, I'm in a wrong place. This is a big house and this is a Macedonian.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
You're in the right place. Come on in.
Okay.
In United States, that was the fascination when we moved here back in 2000. In Macedonia, you volunteer, but it's volunteering for your family, right? You help your family. We don't have that volunteering and sense of community because we've lived in a closed circles most of our times. Here, people like to help each other. They like to give back to the community. This is happening now, but that is a fascinating thing that is helping older persons and everybody. There are so-called dimensions of wellness. Not sure if you know of that term, but dimensions of wellness include occupational wellness. And that includes working and volunteering that helps people get their purpose back and help them to live their life longer. In the United States, there is less of a social norm to retire at a certain age. Like you can work longer. Some Americans work well into their 80s. For some of them, it's a must because they don't have any other economic means. But for many Americans, it means that they like what they're doing and they want to maybe even change their expertise and their work, what they have been doing over time. Retirement society is less attainable. Like you all remember last year what happened in France. They raised the retirement age from 62 to 64. It was riots. It was crazy what was happening. We have family in France, and you know, listening to them, and it's like, well, why would you be so angry about retiring at 64? It is this, exactly, the retirement security is less attainable. People feel that if the country, the governments should take care of them. This different way of working and living, like it's in the United States, that we are all responsible for our future, it's less in other countries. And I think it's less in Macedonia too. Like Macedonians retire men and women at 64. Some of them, they don't have much options. Like they kick you out of work because there's a person waiting for you to fill in the spot. Like I have family members that actually on their birthday, they were told, thank you, that's it, yeah. Not even thank you, like that's it, bye. So I think that having awareness of that and you know giving opportunities to older adults and knowing why is it important for them is going to be contributing for their happy and healthy life. Social barriers, ageist attitude. We all heard about ageism, right? Like, you know, you apply for a job, after 50, 55, you're less desirable. I mean, that's not really a secret. Like people that are hiring, they give advantage to younger. I'm not saying that's wrong or not. That's one of the barriers. No family support. More and more people are alone. They don't have families around. They never married. They didn't have children. We have the whole LGBTQIB environment where you know, they have less kids, and they don't have the family support. Lack of social infrastructure. People don't know who to ask for help. And some countries, they have less social infrastructure just because they're individual countries. Like if you are an older person in the United States and come from Macedonia at a later age, you don't know who to ask for help. We don't have support groups. We don't have this, where there are a lot of barriers about getting help from others. A lack of access to healthcare. That's a huge problem in the United States. And I think it's becoming a problem in Macedonia and other countries as well. People don't have wealth, they don't have means to get healthcare. and they don't have many options. You know, particularly with the healthcare prices rising everywhere, it is, you know, they don't even get you to the emergency room. In Macedonia, you're older than 80, they don't even come to get you. That's your done deal. You need family support. If you don't have that family support, you don't even have access to healthcare. Mobility needs are not addressed. That's a very dear topic to me. Why? Because as we get older, we don't, you know, our elders are now getting older and older. And what that means that we don't really know what was happening in the past with our grandparents because they were dying younger. Like, I don't, you know, there are rarely older people than 90 that I know in my family that lived that long. So now that more people are living past the age of 90, even 85, they have developed different type of aging disabilities, issues, such as macular degeneration, or glaucoma, or Parkinson's, or, you know, these things are developing over years and are worst, and we don't have the accessibility, the adaptations for that. What I mean by that is, like, for example, in the United States, you can get audiobooks, right? You can you have closed captions. You have other help. What is happening in Macedonia? Unless they have subtitles in when they talk in Macedonian, voice-over, thank you. There is no other way that they can even watch anything on the TV. Like, my mother-in-law had macular degeneration. What we were doing for her is we were reading her, my husband, not me, was reading newsletter articles for her, recording it, and placing it in a Dropbox. We taught her how to push a Dropbox button on her iPad, and she would listen to her son, who was 6,000 miles away, reading things from the newsletters. Audiobooks are rare. There are less and less Macedonian books. There are Macedonian, there are Serbian, there are Croatian books that you can get, but people don't know about it. It's not well-known subject. Ramps. Like, people, if you are on in a wheelchair in Macedonia, you're stuck. You even go to the hospital, they have stairs. They don't have elevators. They don't have these things. Here is better because of the American Disability Act. You know, I always think the benefits that seniors, elders have here, how we can help that develop in Macedonia. There are many examples like that. One thing that I will talk about is technology, how technology can help, and how we as, you know, women can contribute to that. Aging at home is often inadequate. Well, we've struggled with that too. I have, you know, I think that we all have examples. We like to have carpet, like, in different positions in room, right? Because we want to wash it, right? Isn't that normal? But people trip, and they don't realize that, you know, being older, they lose balance, they trip, right? Who is looking at their environment? They don't have grab bars. You know, here it's more or less normal to get a grab bar. You go to Home Depot and get a grab bar. We went to Macedonia to equip my mother-in-law house. It's difficult to find a solid grab bar in Macedonia, and that's so basic. There are other things in homes, like prevention for fire, prevention from floods. There are no sensors that you can do. Things like pushing buttons if you need help. Here, maybe you're familiar with Lifeline. Like, you need help, you push a button, there is somebody who is monitoring that service, and somebody will help you. That does not exist in Macedonia. You can put something in place where your family members are woken during the night. So, you know, one example that I can give you how we solve that issue is that we had shifts. My husband, because of the time difference, would respond to her pushing the button during the night back there, and during the day, the family was responding to my mother-in-law needs for help. Is that sustainable? It's not. Like, what are going to be? What we can do about it? The last thing is lack of support for caregivers. we have so many examples that the caregivers are hit so much more than the sick in the family. They're struggling, they feel alone, they feel isolated. Often they die sooner than the person they take care of. I'm pretty sure that you all have examples of that. So this is, I'm not really sure how familiar are you with aging in the United States? Do you know the possibilities for aging people by the raise of the hand? Like, is it a familiar subject? Okay. There are a lot of options for aging in communal settings in the United States. These are some options here. 55 plus communities. You can move to a 55 plus community. Why is it important? Usually the urgent care or some kind of hospitals is nearby. They have accessibility better. They have grocery stores. They have post office. They have bank. So it's all in the proximity, like a little neighborhood, right? So that's why people move there. Their apartments are smaller. They can get one level apartment. They can get housekeeping and maintenance cheaper. They have organized, it's secure, because hiring somebody from outside is not the best option for seniors. That's why people move there. But there is a problem with that, because at a certain age, they outgrow that environment. They need more help. And what else can they do? They have rental communities where it's a similar concept to 55, but they have more help. They can have a caregiver there, either provided by the rental community. They have meals provided to them. They have maintenance, housekeeping, transportation, which is a huge thing. Adult day programs, that's helping if you have elders at home. You can take them for relief to adult day, where particularly the environment that is growing is dementia and memory support day care, because it's area that is growing and needed is growing. Assisted living. Assisted living is congregated setting where people are under watch all the time, where they have dedicated people that take care of them. Nursing homes, it's short-term, long-term nursing homes, where for short terms, people go there for short-term rehab. They change the hip, right? They go for 2 weeks and then they can go back home. Or they have long-term problems and they stay there forever. Memory support, housing and urban development, HUDs, they're for low income. So the United States came up with the idea, this was President Johnson way back then, he came up with the idea to develop the HUDs because there were a lot of people that did not have means to pay for that, for their care. Villages, there are more and more villages, particularly important in urban areas. So in DC, there is, for example, Northwest Village, where neighbors help each other. And there's a small membership that they pay, and they take them to transportation. It's like a neighbor-to-neighbor program. It can be sufficient to certain time, but not really sufficient until late in their life. Naturally occurring retirement communities. On Connecticut Avenue, and many of you are not from DC, but these are these high-rises where people live alone, they move there, and they stay there, and they age there. So they don't want to move, they may not have means to move, they own their apartment or they rent their apartment, they're familiar with their environment, they don't like to change, and they stay there. And that's, naturally occurring retirement communities. Intergenerational environment. More and more senior living is being developed together with schools, high schools, kindergarten, etc. in the area. Why? Because people take care of themselves. So the kids, that's one of our campuses, what is happening. The kids, they have a Goddard Center next to us. They come and they do different presentations, they do graduation ceremony, we do tutoring for them, and it's completely different when you have a bunch of kids entering your elder care environment. Everybody loves it. University-based retirement communities. As the universities are prevalent in urban areas or in a concentrated area with multiple universities, they tend to create their own retirement homes. Life plan communities, it's first on the slide. I left it for the last because that's least known thing. It's something, why it's called life plan. These are planners. These are wealthy people. About 5% of population can afford that. These are people that have planned their aging early on. They have means to move to these, and they have all the continuum of care there. So they start with independent living. They have all kinds of socializations. Our calendars have 400 programs during the week. So they can pick and choose what they want to do. They have so-called Center for Healthy Living, where they can practice arts and crafts. They have Steinway piano to play if they want to. They can take lessons there. They have fitness managers. They have pools. They have a lot of things, gardens, whatever they want to do, they can actually do there. And then as they age, or if they come as a couple, usually one is less healthier than the other, they can move their spouse to the higher level of care, and they can stay nearby. So they can actually have breakfast together, they can go to events together, and they don't feel that isolated. That's different from if they live at home, and if they send their spouse somewhere else, it's a change for both of them. And here they come earlier in life. By earlier, I mean 82 to 85. You know, these are people wealthy, they took care of themselves. They ate well, they exercised, they traveled, so they have accomplished a lot of their lives, and they have means to move to these life plan communities. They were called in the past continuing care life community, continuing care retirement communities, but they changed the name recently because these are life planners, and we, you know, all should be striving to that, right? Because that's empowering. There was a study that was done recently that people moving to life plan communities, they live at least 2 years longer than their peers, and they are healthier, and they're more happier. If you can think of how we age like a bell curve, right? It's our goal to be as healthy as possible and as happy as possible for the longest time, so we don't drop and, you know, decline long term. Our goal is to keep people as functional as possible, and then, you know, when that happens, it's all normal, and we treat it as a normal, and people don't suffer, and their family doesn't have suffer because of that. United States, being, as you know, a country that is well organized and they took care of their elders, they have different institutions that they are taking care of, or building public health and policies in regards to the aging. National Institute of Aging, it's part of the National Institute of Health in Bethesda. They have huge research that they're doing in aging. If you have not looked at it, it's a good idea that at least you know what they're doing. State departments on aging. So each state, they have Department of Aging now. Why? Because they need to take care of elders, and they need more policies on elders. Academia is now more involved. Like, you know, when I started working in this field 12 years ago, it was kind of, people are aging. It was not well accepted because people were not aware of the silver tsunami coming. Now more and more people, academia, research, big companies such as Microsoft, Amazon, we all know Alexa, right? And the need of these things are more incoming in our business. Amazon purchased One Medical. There is one reason for that. Walmart purchased Walgreens. One reason for that, to bring health closer to people. And their focus is seniors. Their focus is not younger people that can drive. They want somebody that can come and it's close to them. The photo there, it's one of our communities that we did a collaboration with Indiana University. We did back in 2016 to 2017, we evaluated how Alexa is helping seniors. And they published a study at that point of time that seniors are looking at Alexa as a toy. They could not figure out how it can help. It was very early in the natural language development, but also Alexa was providing weird things to them, like weird answers. So they were treating more like a toy. If Indiana University did not do this study, Amazon would not get the result. Based on this study, Amazon adjusted the way how Alexa talks. Our seniors were like, she's too fast. We cannot get it. Like, slow her down. So they added a feature to slow down Alexa. They added a feature to increase tremble because seniors can hear bass, and it's bad for them. They cannot hear higher pitches. So Amazon actually benefited from this study, which obviously I'm very proud of. Yeah. After that research, we continued the collaboration with academia. Now we had 10th round of interns. These interns are master level students from human-computer interaction department. So they like actually to talk to humans. They're not technology people doing computers only. They like to talk to humans, how humans are using computers. There is we all know ARP, for people that are older than 55, we get bombarded from ARP. Right the moment you turn 55, become a member. There are a lot of benefits, but a boomer, I never signed up for that, right? I think that many of them, they haven't. There are a lot of benefits to it. And one of the benefits is that they like to work with us in senior living. So we do different studies. So one study that we did with them was isolation. So we asked, they dispatched a group of researchers from ARP in our communities, and they talk to people if they're isolated, living in life care communities. They also talk to people that live at home in different settings. The results of this study was that people living in life plan communities are much less isolated than others. Age-friendly city movement. In big cities, that's particularly important because it helps build environment where people can age easier and be more happier. Well, I'm technology, right? So in my job is to take care of technology in all our campuses. So I oversee technology, not from the business side, but more and more on the resident side. What we've learned, I've talked a lot about accessibility, is that we don't have good tools for accessibility. You look at your phone, right? How things are small there. You open a browser. Can the browser read it to you? Can you see, imagine yourself that you cannot see? What you can do with your phone? Not much. What you can do with your 8-inch tablet? Not much. You can probably do something with this size of the TV. So how we can adopt that type of technology to be closer to people? Some people have mobility issues, right? Some people have dexterity issues. How people have hearing issues. Like, people don't know about hearing loops. Do you know about hearing loops? Hearing loop is a technology where you build a copper wire around the perimeter of rooms, and on your phone, if you have a hearing aid, you can adjust your hearing aid to accept the voice that comes from the microphone, like you're hearing directly in your ear. The past where people will blast their TVs, so nobody can do anything, right? Because they're watching soccer, right? Or similar news. That's passed in the United States because there are personal hearing loops. All the government buildings, they need to have a hearing loop. If you go to Kennedy Center, you can get headsets. They're connected to the hearing loop. So even if you don't have a hearing aid, you get headsets. Well, guess what? All our community is equipped with that. Even in a gym, because people need to follow the directions of the trainer, they need to hear it. Otherwise, they don't know what to do. Like in Macedonia, that's not even a thing. Like they don't know about it.
They don't work out.
Yeah, and it's been in works in Europe. You go to a metro station in Paris. We were there like 90-something, they already had it. Like, why? The technology is accessible, it's not even that expensive. But how do we bring the awareness about that? virtual assistants. We've talked about Siri, we've talked about Alexa. The problem in Macedonia is in English. Like, what do you do about it? Nothing much. Like Alexa, they just developed French, Spanish, German. Are they going to develop Macedonian? No, not close. Is it possible to train and to do something about it? Probably so. Transportation, that's a huge problem. Even in Macedonia, it's a problem, right? People, now even cabs are getting more expensive. Here you have Uber, you have Lyft, you have different options. I think that mobility and transportation is a huge unsolved problem. Digital, it's equal to health equity. What I mean by that, more and more hospitals or physician offices require you to make an appointment online, to place your information, to pay. Like I was trying to pay today just to test it out. Over the phone, they were like, oh no, you need to go online. Like, imagine 90-year-old. Can they do it? Probably not. That's why, we need to teach people how to use technology. And how do you teach a person that never used a computer in their life? That's specialized trainers that they can do that. In Macedonia, it's an even bigger problem because of language barriers. People cannot get, they don't know English. The tech education, it's something that I think that we can contribute. I forgot to mention at the beginning that even in the United States, the person that takes care of the family is the eldest daughter. That's the first person that we call, the first person that is our residents put in as a contact information, and the most reliable. She comes over, she calls back, she does it all. Sons, not so much. So we all need daughters.
Great.
Or we can,
teach them.
Teach boys early on. Okay, I think I talked a lot. I would like to hear from you now. What do you think about all of this? Was it helpful, first of all? Is it something that we can help? Is it something that we can get organized? I know that United Macedonian Diaspora is doing a lot for hospitals in Macedonia. They're getting things, but there are small things that we can probably do as a group of women if we agree upon.